Hello, 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 and welcome to my channel. I hope you're having a good day. I'm doing okay. I am a little sick and a lot tired, but I have not recorded a video for you guys in a long time, and I thought I'd better get in here and get my butt to work. Or you might find someone else to help you with your organization and all of your other things. I have been so busy with client work and really getting clear on how I want to do goal setting and how I want to do, how I want to run my business, what tools and systems, and all of that stuff. And I have come full circle and really kind of figured out a few things, and I wanted to go over today because I wanted to go over brain dumps because I've done videos about them before, but I've never really addressed some of the things that can happen when you're doing brain dumps in the way that I have described it. So I think that there are some problems at times with brain dumps, and I wanted to kind of address the pros and the cons in those and really kind of help you figure out some tips to kind of break through that noise and that resistance that can come from having an overwhelming to-do list. All right, guys. So here's the thing. What is a brain dump? If you haven't watched my video on brain dumps, I will link it up in here or have it and also have it in the description box below. But a brain dump is where you sit down and you literally empty your brain of all the to-dos. So you're going to have things like appointments that you have to go to in the next, what if it comes to your mind when you're sitting down and doing the brain dump, it goes on the paper. You're going to put down things like if you need to cancel an appointment, things you have to do for your kid for school, things you have to do for your business, things you have to do for your spouse, things you have to do for your house, everything that you can possibly think of is going to go on that piece of paper. I would give you a sheet of paper that is fancy and whatever, but honestly, I think the best way to do brain dumps is simply to write on a blank sheet of paper or a lined piece of paper, or if you have notebooks, those are the best ways to do this because you can rip it, throw it out when you're done with it, and nobody's the wiser. Now, why would you do this? What is the purpose? So much of what we do every day and so much of our day-to-day life is stored in our head as we try to remember everything that we have to do. And sometimes it's really good to get all of that out on paper and empty your brain, because you'd be amazed with how much real estate that information is taking up in your mind. And it allows you to move forward. And if you are in a creative space where you're trying to create content and things like that, guess what happens? It opens the floodgates for your brain to be able to focus on creating said content and not on the stress and anxiety of trying to remember to do all of the things. Okay, so here are the pros and cons that I have come up with for doing brain dumps. And quite frankly, I'm going to start with cons first because I think they're glaring, they're obvious, and we want to get rid of those as quickly as possible. All right, let me pull up my notes. Okay, so first thing that can happen when you are done and you're looking, I've done brain dumps before that were 4 pages front and back. Holy crap. And it was so overwhelming. It was the most overwhelming thing I had experienced at that time. And I really didn't understand the purpose, this was years ago, of the brain dump. And now I know that I don't have to get all of those things done tomorrow, but okay, that's a tip. It can be extremely overwhelming to see all of the things that were stored in my brain. And now I think that I have to finish all of those things. Holy moly. That's number one. Number two, in that overwhelm, you may not know where to start. Like, what does that look like, really? And then number three, finally, it can cause those who are overwhelmed to avoid doing anything at all and instead grab ice cream or popcorn and plant themselves in front of the TV to watch a whole Netflix series or a whole Hulu series or something to that effect. Or to be on YouTube and scrolling for hours and hours and hours. I've done it. Trust me, I understand. Now, what are the beautiful parts of doing the brain dump? What does that look like? So first, you get everything out of your head, which you may honestly find that when you get all of that crap out onto paper, if you had a headache before from tension, it's now gone. It's entirely possible. This has happened to me before. Number two, you're able to prioritize and get really hyper focused on what's important, meaning that you're able to pick and choose the things that you are going to focus on and really get those done. And, well, that's a tip. So we'll come back to that. I'll finish that thought in a minute. And then number three, you open up space. I've already kind of said this, but you open up space within your brain, and this can really be helpful for creativity. Like, there's just something that happens when your mind isn't trying to remember for itself everything that needs to be done. When there's a to-do list over here or a calendar over there that has all of those appointments in it, you can relax and really get to work on doing the things that you need to be doing in your business. Okay? Now, I have 6 tips on how to kind of combat the cons of brain dumps. Okay? So, tip number 1, pick a place to start. And that may sound flippant. It's not. I don't mean it that way. I really legitimately mean pick a spot. You know what I mean? Like, once you've written everything down, you're going to take those things and you're going to itemize them based on category. Like, here are my appointments that I need to put in my calendar and let that be the thing that happens. And here is my shopping list for my business. Okay, let's put that in Trello. And here are the actual to-dos that I have to do. Okay, which of these aligns with one of my goals? Oh, that one. And then you do that thing. Okay, so number 2, it doesn't all have to get done tomorrow. And the more you understand that, and the more you remind yourself every day that you are not supposed to accomplish your goal the following day. If you are, that's great, but those goals are not nearly challenging enough for you. Okay? It's supposed to be a process. It's supposed to take you a little bit of time. Okay? All right, number 3. Be mindful of what you allow on your priority list. If it doesn't align with the goals that you have in place, it probably doesn't need to be there. If it doesn't make you feel good, it doesn't need to be there. If it doesn't have to do with your family or your business, it probably doesn't need to be there. Number 4, make a commitment to get 4 things done every day. that's going to move you towards your goals. In the next week or two, I might record it today. I don't know. It just depends on what my energy is like after I do this. I'm going to be redoing my goal setting videos because I think I was overcomplicating the entire thing, and I'm just going to simplify everything down to like the bare minimum, because the more complicated I made things, the crazier they got, and the more I didn't want to do it anymore. So we're going to focus on simple execution, simple ways of doing things, everything simplified. Okay, especially in 2020. And if you are schooling from home, you understand how crazy right now is. All right, so that was number 4. 4 things every single day. I have done this electronically on a Trello board where I just have 4 cards for the day, and I've labeled it 4 things a day. And I've also got this guy over here. Let me make sure I'm looking at my notes and not at myself. See this guy over here? This is spaced and sized exactly for Post-it notes. And this is how I started my 4 a day, with 4 Post-it notes. That's it. Like, if I got those 4 things done, I could move on and do better things, or different things as well. I could get more than 4 things done, but my only top priorities for the day was simply to get 4 things done that related to my goals and were going to move me forward, or were related to self-care, i.e., sometimes as entrepreneurs we have to be reminded to brush our teeth or take a shower. Or if you have small children, or you're schooling from home. I used to take showers while he was at school, just so I could have that time completely and totally alone. I didn't have to worry about him being in the house without me being there if something happened, he fell down the stairs or whatever and what have you. And now I don't have that. And so I have to sometimes remind myself, hey, you should probably shower today. That goes on the list if it's an essential task. Okay, could be taking a nap or making sure that you take your vitamin B. It could be anything, but it needs to go on the list. Like I said, once you rip that bad boy off, like you take your vitamin B or your vitamin D, which is really essential right now, you can say, okay, what else do I need to do? But until it's done, it doesn't come off the list, and you don't move on until it's done. Does that make sense? All right. I feel like I've harped on that enough. All right, number 5. Understand that your list is going to change with your goals and your desires, and that's okay. And then number 6 kind of goes with number 5. So I'm going to go ahead and say it, and then I'll ramble on for a couple more minutes. Give yourself permission to grow and put an X through those items that don't align with you anymore. I think one of the biggest things that I did to myself in the last 5 years, let's say, is really get hung up that my goal was this, and if I cancel out that goal and go to something better or different, that I'm a failure. And that's not it. It could simply be that object A isn't what you want anymore, and it's time to move on to something else. It's time to find something that you like better. That's okay. Do that thing if that's what you need to do, and don't feel crappy about it. It's not worth it. Just move on, knowing that you're going in a different direction for a certain reason. I can't tell you right now, the coaching industry is radically different than it was 2 years ago, or even 6 months ago. And I started the quarantine thinking, okay, I'm going to revive my life coaching business, and this is going to be my thing. And prior to that, prior to the lockdown and everything that happened, I was focusing on my fitness business. Well, for lack of a better way to put it, it's damn near dead. And so it's okay for me not to focus on those things anymore. It's okay for me to not want to add and contribute to the noise of the coaching industry because it's insane right now. It's okay. I don't need to do that, right? And it's okay that I went through an entire educational program and with that intent and realizing that I didn't want that anymore. That's okay too. That's exactly what those programs are designed to do for you. You're going to figure out if you have the commitment and the cojones to do it. And if you don't, it's okay. But it just is. It doesn't need to mean anything about you, about your ability to commit to something. It doesn't need to mean a single thing. It can just be a decision that you made. Don't make it more than it needs to be, in other words. All right, guys. I feel like I've rambled on a little bit longer than I had planned and preached at you a little bit. So I hope you have a good day. I really hope that this was helpful. If you are curious on how to do it rained up, again, make sure that you read or look for that video below. And I'm going to come back and talk to you about goal setting and a whole lot more about all of that. So I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. See ya. Bye.